Marshall's Mike Green. So Mike Green obviously coming out of Marshall, had a strong season this past year. Obviously made serious headwaves at the senior day with this one-on-one rep against Josh Connolly at Oregon. But Coach, I got to ask you about Mike Green. Is this somebody that could really surprise some people in the NFL coming out of Marshall?
I think in the right system, no doubt. I don't know if you got a chance to watch any of his snaps, man. He has a quick first step. He can run the corner. He's an explosive guy. I think in that Von Miller-ish type mold, I think it'd be a great fit. He played at Marshall, shouldn't be a cold weather problem for him. Some guys really can't, make that adjustment when you think about it, from being in cold weather, being in warm weather through college and once you get to the pros. But I think anybody that's looking for an edge guy that plays with speed and tough, can play in the run game, I definitely think he can help a couple franchises.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned, his first step is extremely quick. He obviously played for Marshall this past season under Charles Huff. Marshall ended up winning the Sun Belt, and then Huff ended up leaving and taking a job at Southern Miss. But I think, yeah, absolutely. But I think Mike Green definitely is going to make an impact in the NFL. Where he gets drafted is another thing. But Coach, in terms of my NFL comparison for Mike Green here, he reminds me a lot of someone who the Seahawks drafted about 10 years ago to West Virginia, Bruce Irvin, and someone else who was very quick off the ball. They're built the same, both 6'3", both quick off the ball, high motor. And Mike Green had 17 sacks this past season at Marshall. But if I had to give an NFL comparison, that's mine. Coach, do you have an NFL comparison for Mike Green?
Yeah, like I said, a young Von Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Vaughn was jacking folks up about 5 years ago before the injuries started to stack up. When some of those clips you were just playing, man, with that chop spin, that lean off that block, man, that's Von Miller-ish.
Yeah, that is true.
Too, you know what I mean? And just saying, playing tough in the run game. Von Miller could play every down. He didn't have to come off first and second down, wait till passing situations, third down. He could play every down, and I think this kid same. Ooh, that was nasty right there.
Yeah,
I think this kid is the same one. Same one. I think he's the same one.
Absolutely. And then now in terms of talking, in terms of teams that I think could go after Green or would be a good fit for Green, one team that's off the top of my head, the Raiders. I think the Raiders Green could fit in as a guy opposite of Max Crosby if the Raiders elect to do that. The Raiders hold the 6th overall pick. I don't know if they're going to end up taking Green that high. I will say Pete Carroll has a history of trading back in the first round, so that's something to watch in terms of them getting Green. But I think Green is one of those standout guys. Pete Carroll also drafted my NFL comparison for Green, Bruce Irvin. But I think in terms of Green, the Raiders definitely need help defensively in the secondary. Could use an extra guy on the defensive line. I think this is somebody that Pete Carroll is not going to ignore, and the Raiders could be a good fit for Green. Coach, if you had an NFL team that will go after Green, who do you think and why?
Where does Pittsburgh pick?
I think 21.
He may be gone. But he is he puts me in that mold with what they do defensively on the other side of Watt. I think he could be that. You probably don't remember the name Lawrence Timmons. I think he could be that guy for them.
Just for sure.
Solid. Just a solid guy. They can stand up. They can put his hand on the ground, and they need some help defensively if they want to continue to move the needle past the first round in the playoffs. So I think Pittsburgh, he'll probably be gone by then, but I think Pittsburgh would be a great pick for him, for them.
Man, I mean, if he ended up in Pittsburgh with what they got on the edge with Watt and Highsmith, Cam Hayward, I don't know if he's going to keep playing with the Steelers. Oh, that's something interesting to watch. But yeah, Mike Green would fit in perfectly with Pittsburgh's scheme off the edge. Him and T.J. Watt on each side, along with Highsmith. Woo. Man, I think that would be a great fit for Mike Green. One thing with Mike Green, he has been asked all throughout the NFL scouting combine about the issues of sexual assault in high school, and he's denied it multiple times. And here's a compilation of his comments on that situation. Take a listen.
Accusation.
The accusation of something.
Of sexual assault that I've never been questioned about. That nobody ever investigated. No, I've never been charged with anything, and I'm just going to continue to stick to my process and just tell the truth and how it is. There's two, one in high school and one in college. And at Virginia, it was an anonymous report, so no, that it was no, it was nothing that came up out of it. There's no questions that even been asking me. Out of high school, yes, they did do their due diligence, and they end up just closing the case. Yeah, there's a lot of talk out there, and it's just a bunch of people that really don't know what actually happened. I've never done anything wrong. I've never been charged with anything. My main focus right now is just telling these teams everything that they need and want to know. It's just a little frustrating just seeing online that everybody just has everything to say, and that's not the case. So I'm just going to continue to stick to the process, and I'm confident in myself and the way I've been handling this process.
Coach, what are your thoughts on Great's comment on these sexual assault accusations, one in high school and one during his time at Virginia?
One, first, and correct me if I'm wrong, did he just open up with that? Or no one asked him about that, right?
No, that was a compilation. He has asked multiple times about that, the scouting comment. That's just a compilation of his answers.
The first one, he was like, I know what you want to talk about, whatever. And I'm just like, okay, where's this PR team? We don't talk about that to the media. We let them do that. We talk about that with the teams that ask us because we don't want to give open-ended comments, and I think he gave some open-ended comments right there to me that would raise some speculation as to the charges are being said, not charges, accusations, as he put it. If I'm a part of his PR team, if the New York Giants aren't asking us about that, we're not talking about that. There's no need in talking about that. I hate that, but this is the thing that we tell these kids all the time. It'll come back to you. High school, the NFL is ruthless, man. They will go ask and find your third grade teacher how you were, leading up to all this stuff. So hopefully it doesn't cost him in the long run, so to speak. But this ain't the typical he failed a weed test, blah, blah, blah. This ain't that. We all know how serious sexual assault is. And we know what kind of, how big that issue is right now. So hopefully this doesn't cost him or hurt him in the long run. And, he gets past this thing of having to answer these kind of questions.
Yeah, and you made a great point in the way he answered the things he said. I don't know the exact questions that were asked to him. I just do know at times things were left open-ended, and so that's a good point. In terms of this, Green was never charged with anything, but like you mentioned, the NFL is going to do their due diligence. They're going to dive in. They're going to ask everybody about every single thing. There's nothing really to hide on that aspect. They're going to find it. And so when we come to the combine every year, this seems to happen where some sort of story has come out.
Crazy story.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see whether this affects Green's draft stock at all. One thing I will say, going back to the team that I think could go after him, the Raiders, Pete Carroll has never been afraid to bring in a guy who was a checker pass, so to speak, or some issues, bring him in and give him another opportunity. So that's the one thing I will say. He did it with Frank Clark coming out of Michigan a few years back, if you remember. Frank Clark winded up having a great career. So that's the one thing I will say on that.